Welcome to the Cultivator pitch event by Cultivate Farms. My name is Sam Marwood. I am a co-founder and CEO of Cultivate Farms. And this is our fifth pitch event with 7 farmers from all over Australia pitching to our wonderful panel today. And you, our amazing audience, we have a second event actually on Thursday. So we encourage you to jump along to that one. That is just focused on Queensland farmers. And another handful of farmers joining that program. But we are excited, as always, to have you along and to be empowering and getting behind Australia's next generation of farmers. So thank you very much for attending, and I think you're going to enjoy the next couple of hours. So Cultivator is the program that farmers join to help them realise their farm ownership plans, to make them a reality. All farmers have been part of our 4-month coaching program, where they've refined and clarified their farm investment opportunity. And it's culminated in them being here to present to you today. We run Cultivator to empower farmers. That's at the core. We're about backing farmers and encouraging them and helping them on their way to realise their ownership dreams. We've realised over the years since we set up Cultivate Farms that the best way for farmers to own their farm is to have a plan, to have a proposal, and to be confident in it, and to be continually doing events like this, putting themselves out there and letting people know that they want to own their farm, that they are great farmers and they're looking for partners. So again, we are very excited, and I am very proud of the farmers that are here today, who are putting themselves out there and having a go. And that's what we want other farmers out there to be excited and to see what's possible. We want local community champions to see what's possible in attracting and keeping next generation of farmers in your community as well. The farmers in this program will be continually uncovering investment opportunities from this event onwards. This is about them having their proposal, having presenting today, but continually putting themselves out there to local community champions, to others in their network, to uncover partners. There's a concept around Cultivate Farms. It's about matching farmers together, matching people together to go and co-own a farm, whether that's investors or whether it's retiring farmers. We've got investors here today, and I want to change, and the team want to change what people's perception is of an investor. They are people in local communities around 5 different types of people and people listening. One is the Cultivate Farms team, and I just want to quickly recognise the team who have been part of Cultivator and helping these farmers along. Tamara Marwood, who's part of the Cultivate Farms team and working with me to help get this program up and running and this event going. Adam Gibson, who is our coach, who cannot be here today due to the amazingly full-on rain events happening up in northern New South Wales. So we hope you're okay, Adam, and stay safe. And to all those out there as well, we hope you're all safe. Andy White, who's been coordinating the program. Julia Spicer, who's from Engaged and Create Solutions, who's been helping us to get the word out around our program. Tim Pilkington, who's our farm analyst and farm advisor. That's the team who's been working in the background to help these farmers to be here today. There's aspiring farmers out there. We know you're watching, and we know you get inspired by events like this. So get inspired again. So those who are farming but want to own their farm and take that next step, please do enjoy and get inspired to keep pursuing your dreams. Potential investors, as I talked about. I think, again, people might have a certain mindset around who an investor is, but I think investors are absolutely everywhere, and particularly in local regional communities. People are everywhere who might have funds to be able to invest, and that's what we want to encourage more people to do. So hopefully potential investors out there are thinking about how they can partner with farmers from here today. Retiring farmers who are thinking about stepping away and might not have children to hand the farm onto, but want to leave a legacy, want to stay on their farm. So please think about whether these farmers are the types of farmers you would like to partner with and realise the vision for your farm. And community champions. We know there's so many people out there in Australia who love their community and love farming and want to get more farmers and keep farmers. So please be inspired to see that there are so many great amazing farmers out there who want to farm. They just need a chance. And again, that's the point of today's session, is to show you the quality of farmers out there who want to be supported and keep doing what they're great at. So audience, welcome, and make sure you jump on the chat feature. So up in the top right-hand corner as you're watching this, you should see chat feature. We'd love you to say g'day and where you're from and maybe your interest in the pitch events. We'd love to hear what your interests are. So jump on there. Hopefully it is all very straightforward. We'll try to make it as simple as possible. So jump on. Throughout the pitching, we encourage questions from the audience as well. Depending on how much time, we'll try to get to them, and if we can't get to them during the pitch, we'll try and get at the end. But please jump in. We want your feedback. The panel, who I'll introduce in a second, will be giving the questions, but we'd love to hear any of your questions throughout as well. Housekeeping: we are recording, so just to let you know, and please, as I said, jump on it and jump into the questions throughout. But say good day. Love to see where you're from. One caveat I really do want to emphasize is that we are not providing investment advice. Our focus is on matching people, and all this effort today is around getting farmers to meet other people to go and work on an arrangement that they deem fit. The format: we have 3-minute videos developed by the farmers. They've been working very hard to pull these together. And then we'll have around 10 minutes for questions from the panel and hopefully a few from the audience as well. Again, jump in on the chat feature. But before we kick off, I want to introduce our amazing panel. They have kindly given their time to be here today and their wisdom. So I'm going to just run around and just quickly introduce the 4 panel members here today. And just noting, Tony Ma, the CEO of National Farmers Federation, sends his apologies. He is a panel veteran that had to step away at the last minute for this event, but he's been a great supporter of the program. Thank you. I can see some people jumping in on the chat. But first off, Adam Tucker, who is an investor and CEO of Dragonfly Enviro Capital, which are partners of Cultivate Farms, long-time supporters of our work, and are focused on investing in sustainable solutions. Adam, this is your second pitch now. And what keeps you coming back, mate? What do you enjoy about our pitching program?
I wish you had sent the questions before the thing, Sam. You've already got me. Now, I think for us, we're looking for deals always, of course, being an impact investment company. And I think we've invested in one of the first ones that's gone through, Cultivate, years ago in Freeland pork, and we're pretty close to closing quite a substantial deal at the moment with another one, most likely. So, so we're sort of on the lookout for good deals for the next generation of regenerative farmers, and it's good for me personally to keep the finger on the pulse as to what sort of things are going on that are impactful, and ag is a particularly impactful area if done well. So.
Agreed. Adam, appreciate your support, mate, and enjoy. I see just on the chat we've got someone from USA, Southern Tassie, and people looking forward to the pictures. So Elaine Stead is also on our panel, Managing Director at Human VC. Elaine is an investor and serial entrepreneur, and when we were catching up the other day, Elaine identified that she's been on the panel of many pitch events like this. And Elaine, our focus on farms in Cultivator is slightly different to many of the pitches that you hear every day. But we were talking about the fundamentals are pretty much the same, and love to get your thoughts on what you're interested in about the pitch event today, Elaine.
Yeah, Sam, thank you for having me. I think this might be like my 150th pitch event that I've participated in. So, I obviously love listening to entrepreneurs pitch their businesses. And I guess that's really what my career has focused on. It's helping Australian entrepreneurs build their businesses, and in particular, entrepreneurs who have a global lens, which I think primary producers absolutely do. And I think I bring a couple of different lenses to the pitches today. One is as an investor. So I am a venture capital investor and very interested in looking at opportunities that might fit our investment mandate. But importantly, I also am a representative of the Entrepreneurs Program, which is a federal government initiative to help Australian entrepreneurs grow their businesses. And so I bring that lens to it as well. There's a number of support programs to help entrepreneurs within Australia. And so, if I can provide some assistance and some guidance on that front as well, then, I would love to be able to do that. So very pleased to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Elaine. Very exciting. So Simon Dundon, General Manager of Sales and Distribution at Rural Bank. And Rural Bank have been really excellent supporters of ours for a long time for Cultivate Farms. And Simon grew up on a farm in Western Districts of Victoria. Simon, why is it that we've had such a long relationship? And in particular, what are you looking forward to today in the Cultivator pitch event?
Yeah, look, Sam, we've always been interested in what you've been doing at Cultivate, really right from the start. So, as you know, we've had a reasonably long association, but this is my first pitch event, which I'm really looking forward to. And I've had a look through the videos, and I'm quite impressed, to be perfectly honest. You said something in your opening which really resonated with me, that there is a certain amount of passion, and that comes through in the presentations, but which we'll all see shortly again. But the other thing is to really, what we focus on is having a plan, particularly a really detailed plan from a bank's perspective. And you do need partners in life, and you need partners in business. And I think the partnership process is really something that resonates with me and resonates with our business. I mean, that we look at our customers as partners, but we also have distribution partners as well. So, we're quite adept at partnering. So I'll be really interested in the pitches, really interested in the other questions that come out and come through the chat. So thanks for inviting me, Sam.
Pleasure. Thank you, Simon. Partnerships are the key. That is at the cornerstone of what we talk about at Cultivate Farm. So thank you. And finally, Susie Lowry from Regional Investment Corporation. Susie is the Engagement Manager for South, which is New South Wales, Victoria and Tassie, or Southern New South Wales. Susie, please correct me if I've got those areas a little bit wrong. But Susie and the team offer loans for the next generation of farmers. And we've had a number of discussions about how we can support more farmers to take advantage of this great opportunity that the federal government offers. And Susie's role is focused on directing people to the right loan program and connecting and building relationships again around those partnerships that Simon just talked about. Susie, what's your interest in and RIC's interest in the Cultivate Farms program and this pitch event in particular?
Thanks, Sam. So yes, we have been talking for quite a while now regarding, what you're doing, who you're talking to, the type of farmers you're attracting at both ends. So Rick's, we're basically there to provide loans that support long-term strength, resilience and profitability to our Australian farm businesses and farmers. So this is most probably a really important pitch for us to hear, and I'm really excited about it. I'm not only engagement manager, also a farmer myself, and actually talk to people nationally on a daily basis, I guess, listening to their pitches and directing them to the right loans program, and then connecting them with banks and other people that can support their business, their long-term business plan. I think, like Simon, planning is the key, and I'll be interested to. I love the videos so far. I've had a sneak preview, and I'll be really interested to hear a little bit more about everyone's businesses. And they're also very different. I see regenerative farming as a new word, but most probably about an old practice. So in my line of farming, there's been a lot of people taking care of their soil, understanding their not only their farm, but they're also their business aspect as well, which really sits well with Rick. We want to support those who use innovation and want to move forward and plan carefully in their business. So all the best for everybody. I'm very excited about listening to everyone today. And thank you very much for the opportunity, Sam.
Susie, thank you. Partnerships and plans, they're two key points that we emphasise as well here at Cultivate. I think it's time. Thanks again to the audience, to the panel, to the farmers. I'm confident we're all going to enjoy this session. Again, please keep the comments coming. Loving to hear where people are from, and I know it's a buzz for the farmers in the panel to hear from you, the audience, where you're at. Let's get started. I'm excited to introduce our first farmer. So we'll go straight to the video. Our first farmer is Lachlan Sutton.
Hi, I'm Lachie Sutton, Director of Nala Agribusiness, based at Wentworth in the far west of New South Wales. Here to present you with the opportunity to take advantage of the investment in large, scalable rangeland grazing assets across Eastern Australia. Nala Agribusiness is a modern, progressive consultancy and farm management business focused on implementing technology, improving animal welfare, and increasing the capacity of people it works with. Nala Agribusiness had demonstrated ability throughout Australian agriculture, particularly in the sheep industry, of implementing technology, implementing better placed grazing management, as well as bringing together some really great stakeholders and industry participants to deliver some great outcomes in a number of different contexts. Nala Agribusiness provides a turnkey service to investors. We provide the equipment, the people and the technology to be able to take assets to the next level. We're targeting assets with over 8% potential operational rate of return, as well as those that are exhibiting strong capital growth, typically over 7% annualised over the previous 20 years. Couple this with the potential to take advantage of the emerging carbon and natural capital markets, we believe that this presents investors with the opportunity to acquire assets that are incredibly well balanced and non-correlated to traditional investment classes. We're looking at assets that are quite underdeveloped, that may have been overgrazed historically, and then by strategic investment in water and fencing infrastructure, as well as the addition of technology, which is emerging in the Australian sheep industry, we've got the potential to really lift the production capacity of these assets by having animals that are better suited to our Australian environment and tailoring their management to better suit the rolling or prevailing climatic conditions, feed on offer, as well as what markets are demanding, is really a key piece of this investment case. And what we've been able to demonstrate through better grazing management, better timing of weaning, utilisation of individual animal management rather than a traditional system where we focus on a mob-based performance recording, is that there's still significant upside in these animals that we haven't yet been able to realise, which is really exciting. With the potential to sequester soil carbon, we also have the potential to take advantage of those emerging markets in both carbon and natural capital, which is really quite exciting that ag can be part of the solution. Investors will benefit from strong strategic planning, sound budgeting, and execution of operational plans. We believe that a partnership with us provides the experience, attention to detail and innovative thinking ag needs to succeed in the 21st century. Thank you for the chance to present the opportunity to partner with us. We appreciate any opportunity to discuss it further and look forward to hearing from you in the near future.
Well done, Lachlan. Thank you very much. I'll run through the panel. I'll ask each of the panel members for a question, and I'll moderate that. We'll kick off with Adam, your first question.
I just wanted to know, Lachlan, you mentioned, great pitch, by the way, it's an excellent video. You mentioned that you'll sequester carbon. Was the carbon yield in the 8% operational return? Was that a consideration there? And how are you going to sequester carbon? What methodology is going to be used on that property?
Thanks. So to answer the first question, no, it wasn't included. We didn't put any of that into the investment case as we were generating it. To answer the second question, there's a couple of different methodologies on some of the assets we've been looking at. The first is human-induced regrowth projects. I won't go into too much depth, but the second is through sequestering through soil carbon. And I suppose the reason that it wasn't included in the investment case initially was, one, those markets are still quite immature, although we're really positive about them. And two, probably for our grazing system and how our operations are looking, we're probably looking at that as an advantage to productivity improvements through the grazing system rather than just an offtake agreement into the carbon market. So although it's going to be a really important factor, we're probably looking at it from the natural benefits through reduce climatic risks through water holding capacity in our soils, increasing soil biology and increasing nutrition in our pastures, and other small things like decreasing soil temperature, etc. So and holding together our topsoil as well in some of our areas, particularly in the overgrazed assets.
Okay. The HIR stuff can make it a bit tricky with the banking process when you're shutting down a certain amount of land effectively in perpetuity. But the soil carbon, yeah,
definitely,
okay,
and probably. Sorry, you go, mate.
No, that's cool. No, that's all I'd ask. I think that's really good to hear that you're looking at the soil carbon stuff's great space.
It's really exciting.
It is. Thank you, Adam. Elaine, your question.
Thanks, Lockie. Great pitch. Very relaxed. So well done. You mentioned that it's a turnkey solution where you implement equipment, people, and technology. I was particularly interested in what technology you implement to help try and get this sort of above average operational returns.
Yeah, so we've been really lucky that we've been able to be sort of industry leaders in individual animal management rather than a traditional mob-based system. So through that, we've monitored traits, particularly fertility has been the first one, and monitoring particularly the ewes and maintaining their condition. So as well as productivity improvement through that process, we get some great animal welfare outcomes. I mean, we've been able to lift our annualised scanning percentage to over 200%, which is really, really exciting in a system locally that traditionally is around that sort of 100% is an acceptable average. So through that process, as well as utilising some of the geospatial monitoring as well. I mean, it's definitely not a substitute for people on the ground, but it just provides another really exciting tool just to check yourself at times, and just, a voice of truth that you might need to hear that you don't want to accept, Elaine.
Thanks.
Thank you. You're doing well, panel. I'm looking to see if there's a follow-up question from the panel, but I'll just keep monitoring. But we'll move on to Simon.
Yeah, I was interested in the technology bit as well, but my questions, if I could get two in, Sam, would be great, but because they're not really related. But the first one is, in current very high land prices, particularly in these grazing systems, is there much value out there? And do you see that increasing as far as return? Because I'm really quite impressed by the returns you're talking about. And one of the question regarding to the returns, is there management fees involved from your business before those returns?
Yeah, so I'll answer the second one first, Simon, just to stuff it around. But yeah, there is a management fee in those returns, and that's geared towards performance payment as well as a small flat rate to turn the lights on. The first one around property prices, I suppose in some ways I hope property prices keep rising because it means that farm gate turns of trade are really positive and there's a good general sense of optimism out there. It is obviously a big challenge at the front end where there's so much capital tied up, but we're hoping through this, and particularly the implementation of technology, that by the end of our investment timeframe, that we can present a clear exit to the investment partner or to sell the property, whatever comes first, that there's data-driven sort of proving those production metrics to hopefully add value over the longer term, because I think there's still far more upside in what we're achieving. It probably sort of at times frustrates me how much potential some of these assets have. If we could just throw the right people at them and the right capital structures, what some farmers could achieve out there, I think it's incredibly exciting.
Thank you, Simon. Thanks, Lachlan. And lastly, Susie.
Simon actually asked a question I was going to ask, but just to, I guess, build on that. So first of all, sorry, diving right into it, just thinking about it, really enjoyed your video, very professional. Thank you very much. And for clearly outlining exactly what your intentions are and how you see the business evolving or happening. But just to add a little bit more to Simon, I was thinking that myself, I've seen organisations or people do similar to what you're doing over the past, even 5 to 10 years. I'm just wondering, in your business model, how do you plan to mitigate that risk of rising land prices? So it would have been something you've thought about. You've just talked about it.
So initially, probably taking a turnkey approach instead of having capital tied up in, and I mean, we're trying to return as much capital, rate of return on capital, so less capital tied up in things like depreciating assets and things that aren't gaining value. That's an initial mitigator. So people don't have to rush out and buy motorbikes and vehicles and whatever else. So we supply all that. So hopefully everything that an investment partner's got their capital tied up into is appreciating in value, or we can add value to it through our process. I suppose probably my background is pretty unique. I've been lucky enough to work across virtually most commodities in Australia, from horticulture to beef to row cropping to broadacre cropping, and I think by having that bit of a land use change piece in here with the different type of sheep and taking a different mindset, I would hope that will again demonstrate that productivity increase in the asset over time, ahead of what the rest of the market's doing. So I hope that answers the question.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lachlan. Just looking to the Q&A. I haven't got any questions from the public yet, so please do think about jumping questions, throwing in questions there. I think we are done. Well done, Lachlan.
Thanks, guys.
We will now move on to our second farmer. We're doing well for time. And now the second is Victoria and Luke Burley.
If you have put milk in your tea or buttered your toast this morning, my guess is you didn't stop and consider the ethical dilemma that is present in the dairy industry today. Each year, 700,000 male calves are sent in crammed trucks to be slaughtered at 7 days old. Bull calves are babies, and it's brazen that beyond a week old, their existence is brought to an end. We have a dual approach opportunity that offers an ethical, sustainable and economic future of bull calves in the dairy beef industry. Luke and I, Victoria, along with our 3 young children at Daily Pastoral Company, believe in the right to life for all newborn animals in our care. You have the opportunity to work with us, turning a problem into a profit. We firstly aim to minimise bull calves through the use of sex semen, AI beef and beef mop-up bulls, and secondly capitalise on the byproduct into the dairy beef market, allowing an increase in income in months where milk supply is reduced. We have been incorporating beef genetics for 2 years, however see further scope in our business for this to be expanded. Our aim is to significantly decrease bull calves while increasing the beef proportion of our operation. We are seeking investment in a 900-acre high rainfall dairy farm in Nullawarre, southwest Victoria, equating to $11 million with a 50-50 share farm agreement in place. The farm encompasses 3 titles, 2 of which are irrigated by a centre pivot and a hard hose irrigation. There are 3 houses on the property, as well as a 40-stand rotary dairy with ample shedding. While Luke and I are both 4th generation farmers, we have bachelor degrees, Luke in agriculture and myself in education. Luke spent 7 years working locally as an agronomist, honing his technical production knowledge and skills, while I taught as an agriculture science teacher at a leading private school. We sought, surrounded and learnt from key industry people, climbing the ranks quickly. We have learnt that 1% improvements do make the difference. Because of this, for 3 consecutive years, we have been recognised by Dairy Australia as being in the top 1% of dairy farms in Australia. Our excellence in milk quality and production is categorised in the highest tier, receiving the highest payment. We produce out-of-season milk, which is advantageous as the pricing structure for buller favours our farming system. For 4 years, we have concurrently operated our Angus beef breeding enterprise, leasing 2 properties while operating our current dairy share farm. We have recently purchased one of our lease properties, demonstrating our investment in cultivating a life working with the land. We have been able to refine our team to ensure that our needs are met, and we have their full confidence in taking the next step. We have an abundance of ambition, confidence, curiosity and focus. We're insightful, meticulous and resourceful. We are university-educated people with industry experience. We are well connected within our networks, committed to cultivating a high cash flow career with cattle. The problem of bull calves is not going away, but the opportunity to capitalise on them will remain, and so we invite you to join us in making a difference and ensuring the right to life for all newborn animals in our care.
Well done, Victoria and Luke. I'll hand over to the panel. Susie, we'll start with you.
Oh, okay, so I was last time. I love the video and... Oh, I'm unmuted. Welcome and thank you. And I absolutely love the video, and I love the way you clearly went through exactly what you're doing, the reasoning behind it, and your business plan, and thinking about the future. I'm just wondering, and I guess my question is more around the bull calves themselves. Have you had any experience with any pushback from any abattoirs?
As in when we send the bobby calves to market?
Yeah.
No. So we mainly, obviously, nothing that isn't healthy enough, they're not collected. But like anything, there is some room in that. So our aim is to, basically eradicate male calves in our system, using that route.
Yep. Well, congratulations. I think it's a great business plan, and it's certainly something that's on everybody's mind. Thank you.
Definitely the social and ethical awareness is creating something for this market.
Absolutely. Thinking ahead. Well done.
Thank you.
Thanks, Susie. Elaine, I'll throw to you.
Thanks, Victoria. That was a great pitch, and definitely resonates the ethical element that you're trying to address. And I'm very impressed to hear that you're in the top 1% of dairy farmers. So that's amazing achievement. Well done.
Thanks.
This might be a really basic question, so apologies if you did address it. But the capital that you're looking for at the moment, is that to buy out part of your farm, or are you going to be using that for expansion capital to do some of the initiatives that you just talked about?
So we already run this structure. I guess for us, we're looking to increase the scale of it. So as I said, we've recently purchased one of our lease properties, but we share farm currently on a lesser share. So we're seeking a greater share to continue doing what we're doing. We were already doing it. So it's proven. We love it. I love every day that I have less bobby calves on the truck is a good day. So, we're just seeking further investment into expanding that aspect.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what are you looking for in a partner, apart from the money?
I guess animal welfare, someone that has, shares values that we do. It's about getting the right person to help us drive this shift in industry that typically has turned a blind eye to the dilemma.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Elaine.
Thanks, Elaine. Simon?
Just getting off mute. Thanks. That was a great pitch, and I thought it's a real issue in the industry. I love dairies for a few reasons. One, they're very measurable businesses and dairy farms, and I just love your approach to this, and that makes them a little bit easier to invest in. So similar to Elaine, my question's really about the investment structure, I suppose. So I come in as an investor with $11 million to buy a property, and then you're share farming that on a 50-50 basis. Is that the gist of what you're doing?
Yep, absolutely. So we currently have our own beef breeding herd that we would turn over for dairy cows. So in our existing operation, we don't have cows here. We do get given cows as part of our arrangement. Calves. We certainly have that to turn over and put into our own milking cows. And then, proof is in the pudding. We've been in this arrangement for 3 years. We know how the contracts work, and certainly have confidence in adding someone to our
That's the other thing I like about it, not just your youth, but also you've got a fair bit of experience in doing this, which is really good to see. So the questions I'd have as an investor are really about the veracity of the 6% ROI, and obviously you get the capital gain, so it'll be all purchase price and those type of questions as well. But look, good pitch, great idea, good business model. So congratulations to you.
Thanks, Simon.
Thank you, Simon. We've got a question from the audience, but I'm going to throw to Adam first, and then we'll jump in with that one.
G'day again, Victoria. That was really great, and I love the way we're always investing in people. So I love the way that you dived more into what you guys are about. But I probably am more of a follow-on from Simon and may not have much more to add. I was more interested to understand what the investment structure is. And so, as I understand it, you're looking for $11 million contribution from an investor. Is that the property value itself is $11 million?
So no, that would include water, like light water license, and that's land and water basically.
Okay, but the overall the transaction is $11 million as around a total for okay.
Yep. Totally.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the 6% ROI estimate that's 6% on the 11 mil as you've estimated, is it an annual return?
Yes. Yep.
Is that allowing for the capital growth in the property, or is that the yield from the operating?
That would be the yield. Yes.
Great, that's really good. Well, that's all I really have. That's about it for me. Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank
Adam.
you.
Thank you, Adam. We have a question from Julia Spicer, who's part of the team and I know watching intently. Vic, is this something you could end up coordinating for other dairies in your district? Does this bring another opportunity for income/growth?
I never say no, Sam. So yeah, to you, Julia. Absolutely. I think there has been a serious shift in thinking within the last probably 2 years, and even speaking with our bobby calf driver yesterday morning, he was actually saying they had 4 trucks in operation and have had that for quite a period of time. However, now they're barely managing 1. So I certainly think it's certainly already happening. But I would absolutely love to be an advocate for helping other people implement what we have been doing here and scaling it up.
You've got the entrepreneurial attitude, Vic. I love it. That's it for your questions. Well done, Victoria and Luke, for pulling that together, and well done with the questions. Thank you, panel. We are doing very well. I'm now going to move on to Farmer 3. So Darcy Smith and AO Doyle.
Hello and welcome. I am Darcy Smith, and along with my partner AO Doyle, we operate Whisper Pastoral. Today we hope that we can give you some insight and confidence to join us in turning acres of land into profits. Together we have 2 beautiful children, AJ and Heidi. We want to provide them with the same enriched childhood that we had by growing up on a farm. At the moment, AO is the farm manager at Fox Pastoral in Merton, Victoria, comprising 13,000 acres with 15,000 breeding ewes and 1,400 breeding cows. Currently, I also work full-time as a teacher. We are both hardworking and motivated, and we share a genuine passion for farming. We've been working in the industry professionally for the past 12 years and like to describe ourselves as early adopters of best practice and have the track record to match. Professor John Rolfe advises that families that have taken risks in the past and have expanded have been rewarded and have made more money. This then has allowed them to continue to increase in scale. AO and I have a proven track record. In 2018, we started with a small budget and minimal land. In 2022, we now lease 3 properties, share farm, an 800-acre property, and have significantly increased our stock numbers and profits to match. Currently, the impact of COVID-19 has seen the production and processing of meat and wool decrease. As a result, increases in demand and stock prices occur, making it difficult to build up stock numbers. However, in the coming years, research and global market trends suggest stability in meat and wool production, product demand, and affordability of products. With the current issues forecast to subside, we have the ability to stock a large-scale property with our current livestock numbers and build up the herd as the market shifts and becomes more viable. The investment opportunity involves the purchase of Merrinabeck. Located in northeast Victoria, it holds 7 certificates of title and has a brilliant water supply. The investment sought is based on a unit trust, 11 units with each unit equal to $1 million. The farm is 578 hectares in size, and we estimate to hold 4,000 sheep and 100 head of cattle at capacity. With this investment opportunity, you can trust that we are committed to the success of this investment. You should also be confident that we are capable of managing risks. We are an experienced and skilled team, our state of genius being low-stress stock management. We are early adopters of best practice. We have a great connection to the community and contacts in the industry. We have also many value-adding possibilities. Lastly, we would also like to include in this investment the option of an exit strategy should you decide to withdraw from the investment. Some of the extra added benefits of investing with us are a farm stay opportunity, supporting local businesses, and a yearly bonus of some homegrown lamb or beef. Introducing our advisory board. These are the people who support and assist us in making informed decisions. So, if you're interested and would like to know more about joining our pursuit of turning acres into profits, then contact myself via phone or email as listed here. Alternatively, you can contact the team at Cultivate Farms. Thank you.
Thank you, Darcy and Aode. Elaine, I'm going to kick off with you.
Great pitch, guys. I love to see the entrepreneurial kind of nature that sits behind building these businesses. So thanks for touching on that. I had a couple of questions. There was firstly about the structure, and would love to hear. So it's $11 million to buy this parcel of land, and then that would be owned in what proportion with yourselves? And then the second follow-on question is, you're the first to talk about an exit strategy, which from an investor standpoint is always great to hear. So I would love to hear a bit more about how you're thinking about that.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, the unit structure, we were thinking, so the property is actually just sold, unfortunately for us. However, so it sold for $10,250,000. We were thinking at the time, we weren't sure how much it was going to sell for, but we estimated the expansion capital to be around $200,000 for farm improvements and purchasing of certain vehicles and things like that. The bank hopefully would go in to buy certain units. We would put in a unit ourselves, and then the investors would also, or in one or two, would go into it with us as well. Exit strategy, to answer your second question, we really just wanted an option for the investor if they were not enjoying the investment or wanting to change their mind. Essentially, we could offer them the exit. Really, it was sort of,
well, not exit straight away, because we'd have to get up and going first to be able to possibly buy the investor out. So yeah, it'd have to be, you'd have to give us at least 5 to 10 years so we can get up and going, and then hopefully buy us out if you wanted an exit.
Okay, thank you.
The other option with the exit strategy was to sell your unit to another investor.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Elaine. Farms are selling fast, aren't they? And I think that's, I guess, a message for all farmers is have your proposal, do it for a farm. That farm might get sold, but at least you've got the core of your investment proposal ready and to be able to jump onto other opportunities. But thank you, Elaine. Next up, Simon.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for the pitch. It was quite interesting, and I did like a couple of points you raised, which is all about second way out, or that exit strategy. I really picked up on that. I'm quite used to the unit trust structure for land ownership, so I think that's not a bad thing, particularly if you want to get a raft of investors in, so I didn't mind that at all. And having 7 titles probably helps a fair bit for a second way out as well. my question is really going to be around the risks, and you've talked about risks. It's really important in pitches, I think, when you get into the detail, so not for this one, but for further down when you're talking direct to the investors, to make sure you've got really strong mitigants for those risks and that they're really well thought through. So certainly your group of advisors will be able to help you with that. But my question is, what thought have you put into the mitigants for the risks that are quite apparent in agriculture at the moment? I mean, we're riding a real wave, aren't we, of how good everything is. So it's probably only got one way to go in some ways. So what are the mitigants?
I suppose one of our main risk would be injury to ourselves. So having our community around us, AO's got quite good contacts in the industry. He, especially working for Fox Pastoral, he's worked with a lot of subcontractors, and by knowing them, we'd have them to back us up if anything happened to us. Is that sort of answering your question?
Yeah, that's one. So key person risk is a real issue, obviously. So that's one of the things, and probably one of the mitigants you could put up against key person risk. But just more, on a downturn in commodities, for example, or poor seasons,
As
or a
in
combination of those
you're
two.
talking drought.
Drought and commodity prices.
What is it?
Sorry, did you hear me? So drought and commodity.
Yeah,
so poor seasons and commodity prices. So we've just had a season, or come through a season where both things are going, spectacularly well. What if they weren't?
Well, the place that I work on, and I'm used to running things very intensely. So obviously containment. You'd put in these good seasons, we'd bury a lot of feed. And get ready for a drought. So it can last quite a long time. So that's a lot of things. Containment is another thing. So when a drought comes, you feed and wait for a rains to come, and there's no stock grazing paddock. So it's like you're sort of saving your pastures for when it does rain.
If it came to it as well, you'd obviously destock and try and preserve the land to make sure that when things do improve, you're not working with land that's really degraded.
Thank you, Simon. And we are dealing with the world of internet delays out in the bush, but you're doing well again. Adam.
Yeah, what return rate can investors expect to see?
We did it. So we've done a proposal budget on the new farm and what we'd expect to receive profit-wise. We also included a budget for wages to actually manage the property. And per year, we were hoping to do a 3% return on investment, on profit, sorry.
And how's that return on what structure is that? Is that return, Darcy? Is that a profit? Is that from a profit share, or is that a lease, or how's that return coming to the investor group?
That return would be going to the investor.
Yeah, under what structural basis? So are you with the unit trust? Are you guys going to take an operating wage to run the property? You're going to contribute the cash to cover one unit, and then there's going to be investors and a lender. So in that structure, is that 3%, is that going to be a distribution of what the farm makes in profit, or are you going to pay it as a lease and have full control of it, or how's the structure work there? I'm not sure I was clear on that.
I suppose we'd probably have to get back to you on the finer details with that question. But in our idea was to have a lease as part of that, that would come out from the net profit, and then the 3% would just be the bonus, like a yearly bonus
to the investor.
Okay. That's great. So can I just leave it with you then? I really encourage you to go and get more clarity around how that trust structure and the deal structure is going to look and what the return rates are. You probably need to focus a little bit more on the commercials around that to close investment for this one.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
But it's really, really good to see you having a crack. I really admire what you're doing and what you've achieved thus far, by the way. Like, it's very impressive.
And great insights, Adam. Thank you. Jump in, Susie.
Hi, Darcy. And I think I'm saying I owed properly, and I'm sorry if I didn't. Really good, really great to hear you both today, and I know that you must be feeling a little bit overwhelmed. But don't, because you've done very, very well, and everyone here today is just about trying to help you do your next pitch, or when you're talking to investors, a little bit more information is better than less. I guess for me, it was just a little bit around, you've answered most of the things that I was thinking with my colleagues today, but I was just thinking, you were speaking earlier, Darcy, about, that because of COVID, things, didn't go as well as they would normally, but things are looking up. Have you factored in a plan, in your plan, the turnaround time? So when things don't go as well, or have you factored in your plan, the turnaround times? So for a recovery of your business, so that's what I'm sort of thinking.
So recovery in terms of if we made no profit, or?
Yeah. So have you thought about in your planning scheme, have you thought about the time, your recovery time, and have you factored it in your plan?
Yeah, so I suppose we definitely have out of our revenue stream, a part of that would to ensure that we'd have something there to make repayments if we were in that situation. Yeah. All righty. Well, I wish you all the best, and I think I really love the way that you've got the exit plan. I really love the way the structure as well, because it's, as Simon said, it's a really a lot of people use the unit structure when they're setting up investment deals. So well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Susie. And this is for many people a new world around how you structure these deals as well, isn't it? So hopefully people are learning and just hearing some terms here around how you might set up your investment, and particularly around the land and the rest of the business. So there's quite a bit to get your head around. Thank you, panel. We have one comment from Gail, just commending you both on that, on your idea. Very similar to, looks like, Gail's journey as well. So that's a comment, but please do keep questions coming, audience. But Dale and Aaron, thank you very much. We will move on to Farmer 4, Anthony and Hannah Hanrahan.
In the golden years of the wool industry, it was said that Australia rode on the sheep's back. As we ride forward into the future, Australian wool producers, like ourselves, are seeing strong demand from consumers for more ethical production and traceability.
Last year, over 30 major clothing brands, including Adidas, Kathmandu and Patagonia, have publicly committed to phase out the use of mule's wool by 2030, adding to an extensive list of global companies now demanding change. Belshire Wool Company is seeking investors to join us as we lead the way with ethical and sustainable wool production. Hi, we're Hannah and Anthony Hanrahan, together with our two beautiful girls, Belle and Charlotte. We're a hard-working couple with an established farming business that is ready to expand.
After we purchased a 100-acre property in 2019, we've grown our business by acquiring neighbouring leases and are now ready to take the next step into larger scale farming.
We plan to run a mixed farming operation, producing lamb and grain, with a focus on producing the finest quality, sustainable wool and making a profitable transition to regenerative agriculture.
It is our intention to market our wool under a quality assurance scheme, such as Sustainable Gold or Responsible Wool Standard. These schemes demonstrate higher animal welfare practices and a commitment to regenerative farming. Accredited wool experiences high demand, leading to increased profits of up to 3 to 400 cents a kilo over comparable mule's fleece wool, and has increased marketing opportunities. So why join us?
As a former sergeant in the Australian Army, I bring a diverse range of leadership and management skills. I have an in-depth understanding on the latest farming technology as a contractor in my family's grain and fertiliser business, and I'm also a qualified wool classer. Hannah is an experienced business manager and owned and operated a successful local hair salon for 7 years. Together we have a wide range of farming skills, from livestock handling to machinery operation. Mentors with a wealth of knowledge in farming and property, established connections with agronomists, brokers and livestock agents. We're adaptable, risk-averse, with a willingness to learn and accept expert advice. The opportunity we present today is to purchase up to 2,000 acres in northern Victoria. Approximate purchase price of $5,000 per acre. Total investment required of up to $8.8 million. We'll contribute $1.2 million plus a breeding stock. Investors will receive a 40% profit share. Northern Victoria has seen a 7% historic capital growth over the last 20 years.
If you're interested in partnering with us, contact us on the number provided or via Cultivate Farms.
Thank you, Hannah and Anthony. Simon, we'll kick off with you.
Thank you, and thanks, Hannah and Anthony, particularly for using the Rural Bank Farmland Values Report, which the new one will be coming out very shortly. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll see another big increase, I'm sure, last year. It just continues giving. My question is really around the financials and the return here. So thanks for the pitch. I thought it was really good. You've got some great experience for your age. I think that's great to see, and you've taken the right steps as far as leased land, expanded your flock, and then got things heading in the right direction. And you're 100% right around mule's wool. It's going to be a big issue, I think, going forward. So. You just mentioned the 40% profit share. I'd be really interested in the returns from a percentage and dollar perspective on the investment. And they're obviously coming from forecast profits, so the robustness of those forecasts. And then obviously the capital gain would be picked up by the investor, I'm assuming, on the land. So it's obviously a long-term investment. So if maybe you could just flesh that out a little bit.
So in the way of the return for the investor, we're looking at a 40% profit share based off a share farming arrangement. However, we're targeting a return of about 3%. So on your 8.8 billion, it'd be a bit over 250,000, I think, off the top of my head. But so that's the basic structure. We've modelled off a 2,000 acre property.
Average.
Yeah, based off average prices, and it's really going to depend on the property that we do find. We are open to up to that size wise, but I think in the current market, both land market and in animal prices at the moment, I think flexibility is the key to capability. We're really going to have to adjust based off what presents itself. But we're looking for a relationship with an investor to be able to go out and start that process.
Thank you, Simon. Susie.
Hello, welcome. Well done. I love the video, love the littlies. I guess my question is, expanding from 100 acres to 2,000 acres, have you worked out your economies of scale? So you're thinking about machinery, labour, etc. And if so, where is the sweet spot? So you sort of set up to 2,000 acres. Have you worked out what the sweet spot is?
Yeah, so we're looking at that 2,000 as probably our sweet spot for running, I guess a full-time role. Any larger than that, we're probably biting off a bit more than we can chew from that size jump. However, any smaller, then we're going to be doing it on the side. So
we want it as our primary focus.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks, Susie. Adam?
G'day, Hannah and Anthony. Congratulations, guys. You've come a million miles since last time I saw your work, so congrats. I just want to understand if I can step through it in my mind. So you guys are going to contribute $1.2 million in equity, roughly?
Yeah.
In this thing. And then there's a 40% profit share on profitability of the farm. So just with the ownership structure of the real asset, then you will own 12% of that and the investor would own the rest. Is that how you see that coming together? And then there'll be
the current plan. Yeah. We do have potential to get a loan to increase that or test and adjust that depending on property size and what our investor is looking to do. So,
yeah. Okay, no, that's good. So, because I know for us as an investor, we would like that, and we would like to use debt ourselves to drive our internal rate of return, obviously. So that's a good understanding. I think that you're on the right path with your structuring. So I'd keep going down the route for sure. Well done, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adam. Elaine?
Actually, I was going to ask the same question Adam just asked about understanding the rationale behind that profit share arrangement. So that makes more sense. I guess the question then I have is, outside of this $8.8 million of capital that you're looking for, and by the way, it's great that you're co-contributing. It's always good to see skin in the game from an investor standpoint. What else are you looking for apart from money from an investor?
Well, I think we definitely are looking for someone the same values, looking to go down that, I suppose, regenerative agricultural path. I think it's pretty hard to do that without someone that's on board with you. So definitely we'd be looking at that. But
because we're young too, we're willing to accept advice, and we sort of have found it hard to narrow in on the opportunity because we're open to conversation.
Yeah, which is great. I think that willingness to be coachable or listen to others is really important. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. Great answer. Thank you.
Well done, Hannah and Anthony. Unless the panel have an additional question, I will allow one more. We're doing well for time. If I can see a nod, otherwise.
One more, if that's all right. Yeah, guys, just on that number again, was there going to be any extra capex initially post procuring the property for the capital upgrades to move you down the regen path, or?
Again, dependent on the property itself, the condition of fencing, all that sort of stuff. That'd be the major one, and that's a little bit why we've left a bit of that fat in our own. I suppose the use of borrowing, etc. Whether we do that from our own perspective or whether we ask for further investment in order to supplement or supply that capex, that would be our plan.
Yeah.
So but again, it's just going to be flexible based off what presents itself property-wise.
Yeah. Okay.
But as a grazing operation, fencing is probably an infrastructure, particularly a shearing shed, would be pretty vital. So.
Yeah.
Okay. So your investment thesis would still be targeting a 3% yield, and you would account for that in the maximum you could spend on capital improvements. Yeah, is that right? Upfront.
Yeah. So obviously, as that capital improvement goes up, we're obviously going to have to fund that. So that
may have to be adjusted based off that, but it's going to be property dependent.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Hannah and Anthony. We will move on to Farmer 5, Margie, Matheson and Tia.
Back in Traction is about coming closer to ourselves and nature. When I was at school, I was the high achiever, like did all my work and, was at a perfectionist standard. And then nobody actually asked me what was going on with me, with my emotional body and what home life was like. And so I take on the belief system that I'm not important. And so those little things are actually what I'm learning is something that every human being actually experiences in their life as a child or a teenager. And then we go off out in the world and with that belief system alive in us. And I wasn't given any tools to actually understand what was going on inside of me. So I find Back in Traction is really driven to provide some tools to release whatever's alive in us in any given moment, and the emotions that, like the hard emotions.
And what are the plans to do on the actual land? Like, what are some of the activities that you think can get people outside and better understanding themselves and nature?
Some of the activities would be like growing the food that we eat and understanding the soil that we're growing things in. It's almost like understanding the soil that we are growing inside of ourselves and nourishing ourselves with that. So we have a veggie garden already happening here. There's so much about plants that we don't know, and I'm very passionate about knowing it and sharing that knowledge with people. Okay, so Back in Traction was inspired by my experience up at Backtrack in New South Wales with Bernie Shakeshaft, who shared with me the understanding of how impactful it is to work with animals and particularly working dogs. The idea of working with a dog enables us to step up as leaders as well and face our fears about, oh, should I or shouldn't I? It's like, no, I am. And so that's why I'm very passionate about having working dogs every day in Back in Traction.
So what's next for Back in Traction?
So what we're looking for now is somebody who's interested in what we're doing and is lit up by our idea, who is able to invest $600,000 for our first year of operation.
Because actually it costs $400 per person per day, and to have that covered for the first year will enable us to then see the difference that we make and to have some case studies that will then be able to be shared with the community.
We are keen to run programs and help with the education when it comes to regenerating the land. So if you know anyone who can help Back in Traction get off the launch pad and started, then their details will be around the video. I really enjoyed hanging out and seeing the vision and getting connected to the land that they are working with, and how that can create new projects of the youth and young and anyone of any age to come on the land and find a new purpose and get excited about soil. And as you know how excited I get about soil and us here at Farming Secrets, then we're all in on a project like this.
Thanks, Margie and Tia, and the Back in Track team up north in New South Wales do an amazing job. Let's jump in, and excited to see your model replicating their success. So let's jump into the panel. Elaine.
Hi guys, thank you. That was such a different and interesting pitch and concept compared to what we've seen this morning. And I'm really keen. So my understanding from your video is that what you guys offer is essentially nature therapy or dog and animal therapy, and as well as providing educational programs to consumers. Is that understanding correct?
That is pretty accurate. It is reaching out to the kids that have youth behaviour to to actually say that there's something going on for them, but what we do as society is judge it, and we don't actually go underneath it. So being on a farm enables that behaviour to be to dive into underneath it and what it actually is saying, and in doing so, it's enabling us to be out doing things with the young people. Because when we do that, the conversation just opens up, and the talk tends to happen without them realising that they're talking, and they're learning skills in the same process.
Yeah, for sure. No. I think there's lots of evidence that can be really effective. And so the $600,000 that you're looking for, is that to develop the programs, or is it that your programs are already developed and that just funds the number of people who you want to put through these programs over the next year, so you can get the sort of evidence base to use as testimonials for why this, more people should come?
It would be the second part of how you answered your own question. So there are the clientele that we're looking at have not really come from a stable background family-wise, and so there's support there financially. We don't want that to be a limiting factor for people to say, hey, we can't afford it, so we can't come. So, yeah, having that set up right from the start will enable us to continue using, for example, Beloka Kelpie Stud. Once a week we go down there and do the Kelpie dog training. So it enables us to continue using those programs as well as what we're doing here on the farm.
Okay, thank you.
And the other part of it also is that we're actually linking in and talking with local businesses to get them on board as well, because I think for part of this, it's really important to have community involved, and sponsoring a young person to come one day a week will then enable them to come out and maybe meet the young person that they're sponsoring and see the difference that they're making, and linking everybody in together, building community.
Yeah, I agree. I can see it. Oh, sorry. Go on.
It also covers the rent for the farm that we're on now.
Right. Okay. So it's not just the delivery of the program, it's covering the operational costs of the farm as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Elaine. Susie.
Hi, ladies. I loved your pitch. And well done. And it's really great to see something a little bit different too. So well done. I'm just wondering. So I've got a couple of questions. I'm just wondering, have you? So there are similar operations throughout Australia that are doing exactly what you're doing. So I'm just wondering, have you had an opportunity or to reach out to some of those operations and look at what programs they have, thinking about their success and how they've gained their sponsorship as well, or investment at all?
So in my research, I discovered some of the programs, like you suggested, are doing the same as or similar to what we are wanting to do. A lot of them have actually closed down for various reasons. One of them was funding. So Backtrack is the one that I'm understand they've been operating for 15 years now, and his business model really resonated with me. So they've been very supportive in what we're doing, and kind of like being my sounding board. Also, yeah, sorry,
thank you. And I guess the other question was, apart from trying to get the locals in, which I know is always difficult because everyone's always very busy doing whatever they're doing, so totally understand that. But apart from getting the locals in, what types of other people or professionals have you been able to surround yourself with in terms of, guiding you along your business plan and building a business? Because whether we sort of like to hear it or not, there has to be a business plan that backs the human plan. So have you been able to reach out to some people, to surround yourself with those professionals?
We do have some people that have been helping us with that. Tim Pilkington is one of them. And Ray Milladoni has been helping us, but he's more from the running workshops out here and how to do the restorative practices, the financial side of things. I guess what we're looking for is somebody that invests in what we're actually doing and the feel-good side of things, and especially for the first year, because we need to focus on the young people coming through the program. And then as they build up some skills, for example, we have a welder here and we would like to do welding, and then we can start making things that can be sold, and then the financial side of things can start kicking in where we're actually making some money out of the skills that the kids build up. Yours.
Okay, thank you. I'm just wondering, sorry, I'll stop there and let everyone else ask a question, but thank you very, very much.
Thanks, Susie. And we'll go Simon.
Yes, thanks, Margie and Tara. And it's really refreshing to see your presentation and have a preview of it and then hear you speak. The world would be a better place if there was more people like you, to be perfectly honest. So I think in this forum, it's more about philanthropy and sponsorship and, how you raise funds for this. I think your cause is very worthwhile. So it'll come down to the pitch, but more directed from a sponsorship and particularly ongoing sponsorship perspective. So my question is really about how developed the business plan is, or the plan is, and also who you would like to target. You've mentioned community. We're associated with the Bendigo Bank Community Bank Network, which is quite strong through regional and rural Australia. There's a real need for services like yours, particularly in regional and rural Australia, which has the highest rate of youth suicide. So, I'd advocate that you keep the passion and keep, but I'd really, the detail I want to know about is how developed is the business plan and who are you reaching out to and how are you going about that?
This is probably one of my the parts that I struggle with. Give me kids any day and I can work with them. And it's that side of things that I really would like to develop, and also aware that I'm not able to actually do everything. So I would really like us to be set up as a not-for-profit on our standalone and have 3 board members that we need to be able to set up the not-for-profit, and in that to have people that have the skills that I don't have so that we can make an all-round team.
Thank you, Simon. Adam, you've probably had some thoughts on how you can structure this and who to take to as well, but over to you.
Yeah. G'day, Margie and Tia. Thanks for the presentation, and also thanks for what you're doing in the world. This is pretty cool. I probably don't really have any questions, but I do want to just share some thought from, as an investor. So we're obviously focused on what we call profit for purpose. So everything we do has to be making a difference, and I love that you are making a tremendous difference. But our philosophy is that it has to, if it's not enduringly profitable, it probably won't be enduringly impactful. And so we're not in the philanthropic space. We prefer to back businesses that we know are going to last forever. And that's a sad fact of the world that we live in, but that is the world that those things have to go, but work that way. But I was just thinking what you were saying there, and the can-do that you said that you brought it forward with, that's not your area. And I reckon if you went out and found a co-founder who was really good at that, because it's clear that you're excellent at executing the program, and that's absolutely 100% necessary. But maybe if you went and found a co-founder who was good and strong commercially, then you can work out how to commercialize things or work out how to put together grant applications There's a lot of money out there in grant money as well for programs like this because of the difference it's making. But I probably would encourage that as an early step.
Thanks, Adam.
Well done, Margie and Tia. And it is it's been a great discussion working with you both around how you structure this. It is a different model, and looking forward to seeing how that unfolds over the next few months as we get supporters on for your work. So thank you both. I don't see any questions from the audience, so we will move on to Frank Harney.
Are you passionate about healthy soil and sustainability? Hi, I'm Frank Harney, and my family and I run Elmore Compost and Organics alongside our existing farming business. Our business is dedicated to improving soil quality through the use of organics. Our motto is healthy soil, healthy food, healthy humans. With our expertise, we can take any arable land and use our high-quality compost and other organic additives to turn it into fertile country with increased yields. Our existing land holdings have shown a 1% carbon increase over 3 years. In contrast, most modern farming is eroding soil and crop quality and diminishing yields. So why do we do what we do? Because healthy soil creates healthy crops and therefore improves health outcomes for people. Plus higher yields means higher returns. Since our transition to organic certification 5 years ago, we have achieved yields of 2.5 tonnes to the hectare of organic grain, showing gross returns of around $1,500 per hectare. I'm a large-scale organic compost producer and broadacre farmer with over 34 years of farming experience. Supported by my wife and 4 children and their families, we are proud to be 5th-generation farmers on our family farm. We're looking for a capital investment in our operations, in particular land purchase and capital works, in order to scale our existing operations to meet increasing demands in the organic and regenerative farming space. We already have a well-established organic market for grain and lamb, and that demand is ever increasing. We're looking for an investment of $8 million for land acquisition, approximately 1,000 hectares, as well as $1.1 million to undertake the capital works required for the expansion. A total investment of $9.1 million. This land investment is at market value or close to in the current climate. We'd invest in acreage surrounding our compost yard or other available land in the renowned Elmore farming district. We would then transition the land from a monoculture to regenerative ag and then on to organic, which will increase yields, lower production costs and increase carbon in the soil. What we bring to the table is an expert team, including innovative agronomic advice from Declan McDonald, and we have a supply chain of inputs to regenerative, including around 20,000 tonnes of organic inputs such as compost, pellets, biochar, wood vinegar, worm juice, all worth approximately about $800,000 annually. We'd be looking for an investor that's interested in a passive investment over the long term, but we can also provide options to investors that want more involvement for higher returns. We will offer a 3% return on your investment. The carbon increases would be available by negotiation, with options for us to purchase the property back available. Average annual land value growth over 20 years is 6.6%. Put simply, we wish to upscale our existing successful operation. We have the knowledge, the passion, the markets, the team and the additives to the soil to take this to the next level.
Thank you, Frank. And now over to the panel. Let's go with Susie.
Hi, Frank. Great video and great presentation. And a great business. It looks, you've covered so many angles of your business as well. And I like the comment about monoculture, regenerative and organic. So I really I think that you're planning your business, you're understanding where you're at, and you clearly know where you want to go. I just want to ask you, have you considered where you source your compost from? And if so, what if the price have you taken into consideration the price of an increase in price or scarcity of the product, or perhaps even losing that contract? So, which is a major part of your inputs.
Yeah, so at the moment we source 50% of our feedstock or 60% out of urban Melbourne or metropolitan Melbourne. They currently have about 1.8 million tonnes of product they've got to find a home for. So currently, I'm involved in that industry as well at an association level. So I'm more than aware that that issue is a long way away at the moment. So that's good in that regard. We have our own piggery to source our own manure. And the point you make probably is relevant to chook manure, which is becoming very sought after in the current fertiliser pricing. So we currently have contracts in place to get the feedstock. The technologies we're using now can also use wheat straw and on-farm residuals to improve them through a humisoil process with a company. So we're designing a model now where you'll actually make your own fertiliser on your own farm. So yes, we are fully across that to keep ahead of that supply chain.
Excellent. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Susie. Elaine?
Thank you for the presentation. That was awesome. I guess my question is around the 3% return that you talked about. I'd love to just understand in a bit more detail what that includes and doesn't include, or is incorporating and excluding, because you mentioned that it doesn't include sort of carbon increases. So just want to understand that with a bit more granularity.
So yeah, no worries. So when we sort of put these pictures together, it was almost a generic type concept we put out. So since we've done that pitch and probably discussions even with Adam, the returns on investment would be tailored to the investor from a straight 4 or 5% lease, which would be a passive return, to a lesser interest rate but a more of a profit share. And then from far as the carbon point of view goes, we would baseline everything at the beginning, but we all know that market is still very much a growing, and you wouldn't pin it down yet, but you would certainly baseline at the beginning so you were ready when that was going. So we've sort of refocused that in that we're open to whatever the investor would like to achieve. We should be able to, we all work together to achieve the best results for both parties. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Elaine. Adam, you've seen this presentation before. You might have a very in-depth question for Frank.
No, I actually, g'day, Frank. It's good to see you. I don't really have any questions at all because I've spoken with Frank so many times. but I will. I got to say, I will. And there's so much experience there in Frank that there's nothing that I don't think he's got covered. So I've really got nothing more to add on this one.
Thanks, Adam.
We'll let you off with one last question there, Frank. But Simon, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, and I concur. I thought that was a great presentation the first time I went through it, and again the second time, Frank. So thanks for that. A lot of experience, a lot of know-how, and I think behind this would set a pretty strong business plan, which is great to see. My questions have really been covered by Susie and Elaine in an extent, and I think you would need for an investor to cover off those supply chain issues. And I mean, it's nice to know that our green bin waste goes somewhere productive. So perhaps fleshing that out for someone to understand. But it's about the ability to gear that up as well, not just get the inputs. And the other one was around the 3% return and whether that was guaranteed. And I think you've covered that pretty well anyway. So it's up for negotiation, I suppose. The issue I would have as an investor, and I think probably other investors would have, is what happens if there's, the profits aren't coming from the business in the short term. How's that being met? Would be probably my question.
So over the journey, we've designed our markets around a percentage of them being non-weather related. So there's a farming aspect where you're growing the produce. There's downstream markets where we do market our wheat and straw to a specific building market. Then you've got an outside. We get paid to take the green waste, so there's an added income there. So we have a series of income streams to each offset. One when one's good, one's bad. And I think the regenerative space, even more so than organic, gives you that slight premium where if your yields are down, your product is usually a bit more sought after, so that can buffer that fluctuation in the market as well. We also run a contracting side of the business with hay baling and transports and that sort of thing. So there's other revenue streams in the event of it not raining per se. And this latest one, that this Humisoil, which anyone's welcome to Google, I think will be a game changer when it comes online. So, if that answers your question, Tom.
Well done, Frank. Thank you very much. We are one more farm presentation to make, but there is one audience question for the panel, which I might read out if anyone in the panel might be willing to have a crack at this one. There's a question to the panel from Josh Coughlin. How important is and what do you look at for managing risk, i.e. how important is to have something like an insurance resilience plan in place?
Definitely ask a banking organisation that question. I reckon that's Simon all the way.
Yeah, I was just coming off mute to handle that, and that's a really timely question with what's going on in not just Brisbane, but certainly the Northern Rivers at the moment. And I probably should be sitting in a meeting discussing that. Not that our bank or us, particularly from a rural perspective, have a huge amount of customers that are actually impacted. However, a number of customers that are impacted are unable to get insurance because of past events. So it is one of the, and I talked earlier about risks, identifying the risks and listing them, and then listing the mitigants you have against those risks. Insurance is part of it, sure. Climate's come up and certainly is front of mind for us as a bank, particularly an agricultural bank, currently. So I don't think you can put too much work into mitigating the risks that are present in your business plan or in your business that you're looking at, either expanding or running. It'd be my short answer, and they will be varied. There'll be a lot of variation in those mitigants. So there's been some good answers already today from some of the presenters, but I can't stress enough that that's the number one thing we look at is risks and the mitigants of those. And then I'm really big on second way out. So if the stuff really hits the fan, what are you going to do? So I hope that answers the question.
That is great, Simon. And that's something we've talked about the whole program as well, is around risk and just making sure people are thinking through it and just thinking about all the different scenarios. So you've got an answer. That's just life. That's business, isn't it? To be thinking ahead. So thank you, Simon. Let's move on to Farmer 7, John Allen. So John has emailed this morning saying he's having a family emergency. He is not up in the floodwaters at the very least. So I still want to honour John and the effort he's put in. So we will play the video, and I still would love the panel to throw in questions. And so John will be able to answer them at another stage, but very keen to get the panel's insight on John's video. So John Allen.
G'day, I'm John Allen, located in Cowra, Victoria, in the heart of the Gippsland Food Bowl. Along with my wife Sarah and our kids Ruby and Lane, we're leading the way with sustainable and practical farming methods aimed at improving healthier soils with healthier produce for human consumption.
We currently operate a large-scale agricultural contracting business and lease 350 acres producing high-quality grass-fed, antibiotic-free Angus beef and grow premium lucerne for local dairy, beef and horse industries. Through my time in the local ag industry, I've seen a dramatic loss in soil health greatly due to poor management and overuse of chemicals and synthetic fertilisers, leading to poor production and dead soils. By implementing modern machine technology and fine-tuned land management practices, we have been able to work with local farmers from organic systems through to corporate scale to improve soil health while seeing production gains up to 30%, with our biggest standout jumping 88% in milk production in 12 months. Despite higher input costs, this customer's gross margins gained by 42%. We've been able to mitigate through the Murray-Goulburn crash of 2016 and 3 years of drought that followed. Our smart decision-making and diversifying within our own business structure allowed us against all odds to navigate through these times while the business continued to grow. We feel these hard times have taught invaluable lessons and greatly set us up to navigate any challenges thrown our way in the future. What we bring to the table: myself, over 20 years contracting, which is part of I've worked with varying soil types and conditions alongside farmers to get the best possible outcomes. We have over $3 million in machinery, some of which is the only one in Australia. We have an 80-cow Angus breeding herd, a skilled and experienced labour force, and extensive knowledge of local markets and opportunities. We are seeking an investor or investors to build a land portfolio with. We are open to discussion over the scale and input of that investor. But ideally, we seek someone wanting to grow with us, as we feel large-scale farming is more controllable through market fluctuations. We would like to be in a position to jump on well-valued, run-down farms that we have quick capital gain opportunity utilising our skill and equipment. Initially, we are seeking $1.1 million to purchase the first of 3 farm package available, with the following stages becoming available over the next 2.5 to 3 years. A total of 240 hectares of premium sought-after cow irrigation river flats. Stage 1 being 38 hectares, needing $250,000 for capital improvements included in the $1.1 million. We currently lease 2 of these properties and feel it necessary to secure as a base for our existing operation, but also a key asset for fodder production for any future farm purchases. Cow Flats has seen an average 7% per annum capital gain over the past 10 years. With our long time in the industry, we have developed a great reputation and formed lasting relationships with banks, accountants, agronomists, business advisors, who are all willing and able to support us well into the future. We are highly active in our community and wish to share our knowledge and experience as we grow. Thank you.
Well done, John. Elaine, I'll throw to you to kick off the questions.
Thank you, Sam. I guess my question really, so John mentioned in his pitch around how he really wants to increase the scope and scale to kind of weather some of the variability. So I would have loved to have asked him, just apart from scale, like how else is he looking to mitigate against that variability? Like, is he looking at different land parcels in different areas? You know, is he going to be expanding into different crops? Like, I'd just love to understand some of that variability mitigation that he was looking to employ over the next little while.
Thanks, Elaine. I won't answer for him. I think I know the answer, but I'm sure that he has a very good one. Simon?
Yeah, thanks. Look, I thought it was a pretty good presentation. I really liked a couple of things about it. One, the staged approach. I think that from an investor point of view, or even a bank's perspective, gives you a little bit of comfort. And leasing the country and then buying, it's sort of a known process, which is good. So I did like that stage thing. There's just a couple of things that were that he brought up that I think I'd like to know a bit more about. First of all, production gains. And he talked about some big numbers there, particularly 30% on average plus increase in production, and how that would flow through to returns. And the second one is really about the returns, the financials of what's being proposed. I get a flavour that it'll be right, but I'd really like the numbers behind to see the numbers behind that and the percentage returns if I was going to invest. But yeah, look, pretty good presentation and pretty experienced people, I think.
Thank you, Simon. It's that constant tension of what to be able to put in a 3-minute video, isn't it? With these farmers, they've done a great job, but obviously you can't answer all questions in that time. But thank you. Adam?
For me, Sam, I think the presentation was great, and I think this sort of goes for all of the presentations, is if these are investor pitches, put in the things that investors need to know. So we really need to understand what the investment metrics are, because that drives our decision making. That's one of the primary drivers of our decision making.
Yeah, very good point. And Susie?
Absolutely agree with what everyone said today too, especially with what Adam just said about, investors are there. They want to hear things that's going to spark their mind and key figures and indicators that they're looking for. But I guess for me, I really love the stage approach. I totally agree with Simon. But apart from, so I'm not sure, and most probably wasn't clear that he was able to lease the land right up until he buys it. So I'm not sure whether it might be his plan. So I'm just making sure that is his plan, that he has something to mitigate that risk in terms of securing the planned stage. It's good to have a staged plan or staged approach. I'm just wondering, so that it is being secured to support his staged approach. But great presentation, and you know, I like all the business that we've seen today. Actually, thanks.
Well, hold that thought, Susie. I will get the panel to give us a bit of a comment on the overall feedback from the event. John Allen, thank you. Maybe we'll get you to do a video response to those questions. That might be something interesting we could do and send around later. But we've done it. Thank you so much. Thank you to our farmers. Thank you to our panel, and thank you to the audience for jumping in and listening and supporting our farmers. I am very proud of you all. I'm very grateful to the panel for giving their time. It is such a positive thing to be part of this. We're, again, very proud to be on this journey with the farmers. And again, I hope, regional communities, farming communities across Australia are inspired by these farmers here today, and that there are farmers like them in every community who wants to be on a farm and living their passion and growing good food. So be inspired, and let's keep uncovering opportunities together. I do want to throw to the panel very quickly, and I also would want to ask some general feedback from the farmers as well about their journey and pulling the pitch together. So farmers, one or two, if you're up for it, it'd be great to hear from you. One reflection before I do go to the panel is just I love seeing how there are such different farms and farm opportunities and farmers out there. There's no sort of cookie cutter arrangement here. There's no cookie cutter arrangement how the investment could work or the partnerships could work. And that's a big lesson for us, is that our job is to get farmers to outline what they want and not be apologetic about it. This is what you want. This is how you farm. This is the opportunity you're looking for. And it's your job and the community's job to try and find values aligned people who can be matched with you. So that's hopefully what you've seen today is a bit of a reflection on that variability, which is amazing and really inspiring to see across the country. So well done again, farmers. I am going to throw to the panel. I just love to get a quick reflection. Any thoughts from the panel on where people might need to focus, or any insights, or what you've just learned or heard through the panel, through the pictures today? Elaine, I'll start with you.
Yeah, look, firstly, I just want to say a big congratulations to everyone. Like it's such a process to have to go through to culminate in a 3-minute pitch, and you have to be pretty vulnerable to go through that process. And so just, tip my hat to everyone who did go through that process and pulled their pitches together today. Well done. And I guess secondly, it's, the tricky part is trying to fit everything into a 3-minute pitch. And I think what everyone did exceptionally well today was talk about what they do and why they're proud of it and what is their background. I think that's a really critical component to include in the pitch. I would echo Adam's statement about being more precise or open about what the investment opportunity and investment structure is as well, simply because you do have to kind of pique investors' interest, and you may not get a second chance to pitch that to them. So making that really clear up front, I think, is a critical part that everyone just needs to be conscious of, and really think about the commercials that sit behind that investment case and be prepared to answer those questions. But well done, guys. You should feel very proud of what you've achieved.
Thank you, Elaine. Great insights there. Simon.
Yeah, look, I was, you're 100% right. There's no two farms the same in my experience, and I've been in the game for 43 years, not all in banking, but on farms and involved in agriculture. And I don't think I've ever seen two exactly the same. So it's just great to see the amount of passion and thought and innovation that's evident through these pitches. And I'm blown away by that every day, with what we do. I suppose from a banker's perspective, which is very similar to an investor's in a lot of ways, it is about partnering. And we look at some really simple things, and I think they're the things you need to cover off for yourself to make sure that you're comfortable with what you're going to do going forward, but also that you're going to bring a partner along on that journey with you. And that's really about, we call it the serviceability of the debt. But in an investor terms, that'd be the return, or the return on investment. So really shore that up. Make sure you've got your cash flows really robust and pretty much bulletproof, and you've really sensitised those. I can't talk enough about risks and the changeable nature of farming in Australia. It's probably the hardest place to farm in the world. It's the least supported just about, and it's pretty volatile. So that volatility is known by investors and banks. So you just really, need to shore that up. I think the work you've done, Sam, with this group's been fantastic. Like all of them were really good pitches, really well thought out. And I know the devil's in the detail, and I'm sort of harping on that a bit, and it's probably sitting there. But you can't have too much detail, to be perfectly honest. So that'd be my only advice, is that make sure you've got all the detail, certainly understand how you're going to make it work, and the second way out. Thanks, Sam.
Brilliant. No, thank you, Simon. Some great tips in there. Susie.
I thought it was absolutely amazing, and I agree with Elaine and Simon and Adam. I think it's really important that you do supply the detail and in the information that the investors are looking for. The Regional Investment Corporation is all about partnerships, and what's important to us is the partnership that you actually have with your bank, with the likes of Simon. And so it is really, those partnerships are really important, because once you get that backing, and you're looking at concessional loans, for example, once you get your backing from your bank, then the process is a lot more clearer, because the bank, knows the business, has got all the important information that they need about the business and about yourself. So culture has got a lot to do with it. People have got a lot to do with it. So just remembering, if you're looking for a concessional loan, make sure that you have a strong understanding and knowledge of your business and a strong relationship with your bank. So all the very best. They're all absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Susie. And Adam.
Thanks, Sam. I've got two messages. One to potential farmers and potential people who want to join the Cultivate program who might be in the audience. I can't see who's in the audience with this AV setup, but and to everyone who presented today, the guys who presented, well done. You've come a million miles, all of you, since I saw your early prelim work a few months back. And also, I just to everyone who's thinking about this in pitching, don't ever feel set back to the extent that you don't want to keep going by the feedback you get in these when you're pitching. I love actually nothing more than when I talk with a founder and they're not quite there, but then they come back to me. And in fact, in the last 12 months that's happened, I've invested in 3 different ones that have actually done that because of that. I love that tenacity. And we as professional investors don't hold any judgment if you stuff up your first time or you're not quite there or whatever. We want you to get there, because the more, and especially for me in impact, the more of you that get there, the bigger difference we make in the world and the quicker we do it. And then Sam, finally to you and Cultivate, congrats, because the cohorts that come through this program just keep getting better and better and better. And this program itself and Cultivate's work, I think, is super, super commendable. Obviously, I'm biased because we're a shareholder, but I really think that you should be very proud in the team, because the coaching and the work that's going into these people who are pitching is clearly showing up with the quality of what's been presented to us today. So thanks all around.
Thank you, Adam. And that, I think, is a great parting message, is never give up. What's your alternative anyway? You want to be on your farm, you're going to get on there. Just never give up and keep having a crack. So again, thank you, panel. I really do appreciate you've given up your time for this. We are very appreciative. I do want to throw to at least one farmer to get your thoughts on this journey. What has the journey been like to be here today to pull your pitch together? Who's willing to jump in? Go, Lachlan.
Sam, just want to say thank you and to the rest of the team. For me, I suppose this journey started, I think I was 12 or 13, family farming background and probably no opportunity to go back. I think I rang my first bank. I think I was 12 or 13 years old at boarding school off a payphone with spare change. So it's taken a while, but I mean, it's nice to finally get to an organisation like you guys who, I mean, we spend most of our time being told that it won't happen or that it's just too hard. It was nice to come across someone who says that there is opportunities there. Not saying that people in the group haven't been working really hard and everything like that, but it's really just nice just to have that in the background. I think, Adam, you said back when we were doing our practice pitches that just keep trying because there is someone out there. And for me, that was enough just to keep putting it together, and through the program probably learned a hell of a lot, and that you're not alone in the journey. So probably just a big thanks to you, Sam, as well as the rest of the guys that are on the call and those that aren't. It's been really good. So thanks again. And to all the panel today, really appreciate the feedback.
That's brilliant, Lachlan. Anybody else? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay. I think for me, Sam, I saw you speak locally here about 4 or 5 years ago, which was actually before our farming journey had kicked off. And at that time, your enthusiasm was infectious, and it was certainly within me. But when I saw it actually live and happening, and I could see that you had this plan and you were going to make it happen, and I guess for us, we sort of tried to jump on that energy. And yeah, my favourite word to date from you is still hustle. And so, yeah, I just want to really thank everybody, because it's a whole team. It's the relationship with the other people in the program. It's Adam questioning everything you know and being unrelentless about it. It's being up until 20 past 2 to pull your whole thing together. So certainly don't underestimate the amount of time or work that goes into it, but certainly the program has delivered tenfold on what I thought it would. And I learned things that I never knew existed. So, highly recommend. Thank you, everybody.
Victoria, that is brilliant. Hustle is my favourite word, and let's leave it there on that. And I thank you again, farmers. We are running our 6th program starting in early May this year, and we encourage anyone out there who has that little inkling that you're unsatisfied, you want to own your farm. The best way to do it, the number one way we have seen, and it's being proven time again, and these farmers are going to prove it, is have a plan to know what you want and to be tested many times, as Victoria just outlined, and then and rinse and repeat and go again. But the first step is have a plan, and that's what Cultivator program is all about, to empower you to be confident in what you want and to get yourself in front of people who could get you onto your farm. So please check that out. I think there's a link up on the website, on this link at the moment, for you to look at for a webinar, which Adam Gibson, our coach, will be presenting to give you lots of insights around what you'll be learning in the program, and that'll be happening in a few weeks. So definitely please get in touch if you are keen to jump on. There are a couple of questions from the audience. One is around recording. Yes, we will be sending this around to everybody and promoting ongoing. We want to get these farmers out there, and we want people to find them. So we're going to be presenting it back to yourselves, and love you to share it around, spread the word. Let's get these farmers onto their farm. If you want to get in contact with these farmers, probably the simplest thing is to send myself an email, sam@cultivatefarms.com, and I'll connect you up. But also, if you've got other questions, or if you want to run a regionally focused cultivator program, that's something we're looking at more and more as well. Get in touch. I think the bottom line is get inspired. If you're a next-gen farmer, get inspired. Have a crack. Don't give up on your dreams, and we're here to help you to get onto your farm. And from everyone else who wants to back farmers, get inspired as well. They are out there. They just need your support, and they need to be uncovered and guided through. And we've got high hopes for Australia's farming future with just the quality of people we get to meet every day that, again, just need your support. So I'll sign off there. Thank you all. Thank you, audience. Thank you, panel. And thank you, farmers. And let's get you farming.